Yeah, who was the
Did
Countess?
you know her when she was alive?
Of course. We spent almost 30 years together.
What was she like?
Different. Happier. She loved helping those in need. But it no longer matters. She is the one who needs help now.
Yes. How did her bond?
How did the Countess break the bond between you?
She did not break the bond, but moved it. To be rid of me, she had to form a bond with someone living. Someone who could, in essence, become her guide. How she acquired this knowledge, I do not know. I only know that it was accomplished.
Who did she pass it to?
Joe Gould. It was an easy task, since his mind was already broken. Upon Gould's death, it was passed on to Joseph Mitchell.
And now Charlie Meltzer.
Yes, it must be broken if this is to end.
Alright, cool.
Thanks, Madeline. I'm going to see what I can do.
I will be waiting right here.
That's a diner.
For the upteenth time, I have no money for your fund.
Joseph
Show
Mitchell.
some pity. At least lend us a cigarette.
Wow, what?
I believe we got company.
What is going on with his hair?
Miss, could you perhaps spare a few dollars for the Joe Gould Fund?
I'm famous as the Amnetta. Hey, Mr. Gould.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Joseph Ferdinand Gould.
Ooh.
I am graduate of Harvard Magna Cum Difficultate and chairman of the board of Wheel and Woe Incorporated. In exchange for a drink, I'll recite a poem, deliver a lecture, argue a point, or take off my shoes and imitate a seagull. I prefer gin, but beer will do.
Take off your
I've
shoes.
been hearing a lot about you lately.
My reputation precedes me.
Banana
What are you doing
Oh.
here?
I don't quite know myself. We've all got to be someplace.
I
As
suppose.
I understand it, I was mentally linked to my old friend, the Countess. I wish I'd known. It explains everything that my work was trying to prove.
Your work was actually trying to prove something?
I saw your portrait in the Minetta.
The Minetta. Yes. I'm quite famous there, you know.
I gathered.
It's all thanks to Mitchell, of course. The Joe Gould Fund filled its coffers nicely when he wrote his article.
Your work.
I've had many callings. I studied the seagulls of the world and learned their language. I spent months measuring the heads of 1,000 Chippewa Indians.
Really?
But before I died, I was putting to paper the most important literary work known to man, the oral history of our time. With a compilation of the conversations of the city, overheard in bars, subways, street corners, and diners. Put together and studied properly, it would have revolutionized everything.
How would it have revolutionized everything?
We were all connected, every single one of us. But how? Think of the ramifications if we found out.
It sounds like quite an undertaking.
It was my life's work.
How did you know the Countess?
We met in a diner like this one. We'd often spend a week or two walking along the docks to discuss seagulls.
Aww.
She had many interesting theories on seagull linguistics. Then, one day, she disappeared. But a link had already formed between us. It's everything my oral history was trying to prove, that we were all linked.
The Countess is killing people.
Murder? No. No, I refuse to believe that. She couldn't hurt a fly.
She's been strangling people.
Why is she called the Countess?
That's what she chooses to call herself. Far be it for me to tell her otherwise.
The name doesn't seem strange to you?
When you lived a life like mine, you take people at face value. Who cares about names? I once knew another fellow without a name. Called himself the Deacon.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Sorry.
The Deacon?
So this
You
type
knew the
again.
Deacon.
Oh yes, he was this gloomy career drunk. One summer night while sitting in a doorway of the Bowery, he caught the scent of sulfur. He looked up and saw the devil himself standing over him. Since that night he believed he lost his soul. Not the most charitable drinking companion, if I may say so.
No, he wouldn't be.
You knew him?
Sort of.
Fancy that.
What's your connection to Joseph Mitchell?
Yeah.
Ah, Mitchell, my benefactor. He made me quite famous, you know. But my goodwill only extends so far.
Why's that?
A cigarette, he has them. He won't give me one. It's demeaning to have to beg for one measly cigarette.
Okay.
You want a cigarette?
Yes, I want a cigarette. It's a disgrace that I should have to beg for one.
Fine, I'll speak to him about
I'd
that.
like to read the oral history.
And
Yeah.
I'd like you to, but I'm afraid it belongs to the ages now.
There was also the problem of it never existing in the first place.
Of course it existed, only not on paper.
'Cause it was
over
oral.
3 million words, 3 times the size of the Holy Bible. The work transcended mere parchment and ink.
What about those essays you published in the dial?
A passing fancy, nothing more.
You wrote essays?
For the now defunct Dial magazine. I still have the originals. Do you want to see?
Yes.
I'd like to see that essay.
Here you go.
It appears to be an essay about insanity, but the handwriting is so awful I can barely make it out. Just as well. I don't have time to read all this stuff.
Insanity is the topic of peculiar interest to me, despite my theories that people with strong willpower and a sense of humor never go off their some nuts. I almost have first-hand information about it. There have been times when the black mood was on me. I needed every bit of self-control that I possessed to reaffirm from shouting absurd or something my hands in wild gestures that would have brought a curious crowd around me and eventually have landed me in the police station. I could very easily imagine myself locked away as a maniac, yet all the time the real me was not in sympathy with these impulses. It made me feel that perhaps there is a basis or truth in the old idea that insanity was caused by forces eternal to the soul, such as witchcraft. Science affirms this once. It may go again. Oh, it may do so again. It seems to me likely that many who are held under observation or detention are in something this pitiable state. They may be admitted lunatics because of unconventional antics of the outer body, which the mind may not be in accord and consider absurd. The grim part of it is that the line which... Okay, it's gone.
This handwriting makes my eyes water, but I think it's an essay about insanity. I don't think it's important.
Why did we pick it up? Why did we ask for it?
Here you go.
Always glad to share.
Cool. Thanks, Joe. There's a door. Cool.
Hello. You're Joseph Mitchell, aren't you?
I believe you have the better of me, Miss
Blackwell. Rosangela Blackwell.
Blackwell, huh? I might have known.
Yes, Auntie Lauren.
You met my auntie.
Your auntie, yes. I do see a slight resemblance. I did warn her to leave well enough alone, but she was determined. Let's hope that you can do some good here.
Yes.
What are you doing here?
We are echoes, leftovers, if you will. We were linked to the Countess when we were alive. When we died, part of ourselves got trapped here.
So you're not a ghost?
Not fully. I'm not sure what I am. I remember living, I remember dying, but I don't feel like Joseph Mitchell. All I know is that when I thought of death, an eternity with Joe Gould was the last thing on my mind.
What is your connection to the Countess?
I don't know. I never met the woman. Joe Gould was the one who knew her. He had a special bond with her, apparently. But somehow, he passed it on to me when he died. Next thing I knew, I was murdering people by writing about them. There was no choice. I had to stop writing.
I studied some of your work in journalism school.
Now that's just foolish. I was a relic, even before I died. The city I wrote about has long since evolved and changed into something completely different. But that's New York City, isn't it? Wouldn't be New York if it stayed the same, idiot.
Yeah, but she still liked
I'm
it.
sorry you had to stop writing.
So am I. But what else could I do? Let innocent people die? No, I don't regret the choice I made. Not for one moment.
Did you write after Lauren freed the Countess?
Did you know Charles Meltzer?
Yes, I did. He worked at the New Yorker back in the late 70s. He would come into my office and ask about the old days, and I was happy to tell him. I knew he would never cut it as a reporter, but he had a very keen, analytical mind. I almost forgot all about him, but it appeared a link formed between us, nonetheless. When I died, my connection to the Countess passed on to him.
Yes.
Charles Meltzer is using the Countess to kill people.
By accident?
No.
On purpose. He sent her after me.
Now, that's a shame. I'm
Yeah.
aware that through my actions I killed a few people, but I could forgive myself for it, since I was unaware of what I was doing.
Exactly.
But many times I thought to myself, I have a weapon. It's untraceable. Nobody knows about it. I could use it, but I did not. I was tempted, but I did not. Not
Not
once.
once.
You have to stop, Charles. Break this link. Destroy this place. No more innocents should have to die.
That is true.
How do I break this link?
I wish I knew. I'm afraid all this is a bit beyond me.
Ugh.
How do I...
I'm afraid...
Blah, blah, blah.
Why did you write about Joe Gould?
He's a fascinating man. Intolerable company, but fascinating. He exemplified everything about New York at the time. Its artistic expression, its frustration, its joy and heartbreak. His oral history, or the idea of it, energized the work of dozens of writers and intellectuals. But the more I got to know him, the less I wanted to be around him.
God.
Did you ever read Joe Gould's oral history?
That, it never existed. Or if it did, Mr. Gould never shared it with anyone, which amounts to the same thing.
You know why I never wrote it down. People would have died.
You didn't stop telling people you were writing it, did you?
What can I say? The truth? They would have chucked me in a loony bin.
They probably should have.
Why don't you give him a cigarette?
When you give that man a cigarette or a drink, he likes to talk. And the only subject Joe Gould likes to talk about, at length, is Joe Gould. And the only person for him to talk to is me. So, I do not give him a cigarette.
Yeah. Alright.
Would you give him a cigarette if I spoke to him for you?
I might,
Yeah.
I might. If you can get him away from me, I might. But we can't leave this diner, and the door to that kitchen is locked.
It
Can't
is?
you just float through the wall?
Believe me, I've tried that. It doesn't work. Not here.
Okay.
Thanks for talking, Mr. Mitchell. I'll see what I can do.
Thank you, Miss Blackwell.
Okay, let's have a look at this door.
Locked.
Now let's see what I got. I have nothing. Nothing!
I'm a long way from...
Yeah.
Looks like the door to the kitchen.
Nothing! See if I can work something out.
Mr. Gould,
He returns.
I return!
Say,
I'm afraid of...
There. Whatever.
I'll talk to you later.
George,
Let's go out speak to Madeline. Madeline. We love our bread.
Madeline,
We love
could
our
I
butter.
talk to you?
Of course.
But most of all, we love each other.
Who are the ghosts inside?
Their names are Joseph Mitchell and Joe Gould.
that's
Both
true.
of them were unwilling spirit guides for the Countess. The echoes of them remained here after they died.
Come inside.
Can't you come inside with me?
I'm afraid I cannot. My bond with the Countess is gone. I cannot enter.
But I can?
You are alive. You are much stronger than I am.
Can you take me back?
Most certainly. But you must finish what you came here to do first.
Figures.
Eh.
Thanks, Madeline. I'm going to see what I can do.
I will be waiting right here.
Alright. There must be something I'm missing. Let's have a look at our notes. Nothing. Awesome. Joe Gould. Windows. Must be something to do with this door.
Locked. Looks like the... He's on the elderly side, but his eyes look sharp and alert. That's Joe Gould. I recognize him from the portrait in the Minetta.
Minetta!
Mr. Gould,
say,
I'm afraid I'm a little short.
there it.
Fair enough, fair enough.
You want a cigarette?
Yes, I want a cigarette. It's,
I'd like to...
here you go.
Another essay? Same one? Same one.
Here you go.
Always.
Mr.
Yes.
How do I...
I wish I'm afraid.
Would you give him a
I
cigarette?
might be, but we can't. You believe.
How do I...
I wish I'm afraid.
Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
Something I'm missing. Something.
I don't think those...
Yeah, I don't think they open either. Oh, clock.
What would I do with a handless ghost clock?
I don't
There
know.
are no hands. I guess that's supposed to be symbolic.
Rosa. Must be something I'm missing. Let's see if there's anything outside. I need something, ladies. The door is locked, so how do I get into it? Do I kick down the wall with my ghost feet? You know what, we'll end the episode here and I'm gonna have a brainstorm and think about what I can do, and I'll see you guys next time for more Blackwell Convergence. Oh yeah!